Welcome to Wolf's Watch. Good news you can use, holiday edition. And if you didn't see that, here it is again. Independence Day holiday in America, United States of America. Celebrate America. Happy Independence Day. Yes, the 4th of July is on Monday, July 4th. This is Friday, July 1st. Just want to wish you a happy holiday here in the United States. If you are international, have an awesome weekend. And to our friends to the north, Canada, happy Dominion Day, now known as Canada Day, celebrating Canada's independence from UK rule or quasi independence. You're still part of that, right? Anyway, congratulations, Canada. Happy holiday to you as well. Have a fantastic weekend. Want to share some good news. It's Independence Day holiday. Hopefully, with all the chaos that's going on around us and to just leave it at that, right? It continues to be chaotic. It's going to be for another 2-3 years economically, which means socially as well, right? And then we'll be into another election cycle. So, yay. Here's the thing, find the reasons to celebrate no matter how chaotic it gets. Find the joy no matter how hard it is. I mean, look at all the stories that you have heard of people that were in just unbelievable situations that still found the joy, still found the freedom in their life, independent of their circumstances around them. Doesn't mean accept the circumstances, doesn't mean strive to move forward, doesn't mean strive to make things better. That's all part and parcel of what goes on. You have to enjoy the journey. Otherwise, what's the point? There are moments, there are days. Heck, to be honest, for me, there are weeks where I'm just like, oh, not feeling it, man. Yeah, get up in the morning, dragging my butt out of bed like a kid dragging a lunchbox into school when the sun is shining and would rather be out playing. Don't ask me how I know that feeling. I did that in school. What about you? But there's like days, weeks where that goes by. It's not the theme in life anymore. There was a time that it was, where every day was a little bit worse in my life. I found there was a better way. And thank goodness for that. Took accountability for what I could change in my life, which is quite a bit, actually. The bad news is where I'm at today is the result of all my decisions coming up to this moment. Right. The good news is it's the result of my decisions, which means I can make different decisions moving forward. That kind of stuff sounds kind of trite, oversimplification. Still true. There's a lot more packed into that. The big things were, taking an honest look at what was going on in my life and where I needed to clean things up, making amends where needed, which changed me, gave me a different perspective on life. I still make mistakes, not perfect, but it put me on a path where, I'm getting better every day. And even though some days are, as my dad said, some days you're going to wake up and open one eye and go, oh, not again. Some days it's going to be so good. You're going to look at the person next to you and go, pinch me, because you want to make sure that it's real and not just a dream. You'll likely experience that if you haven't already. So today, just want to do a couple of good news reports, right? Independence Day holiday weekend here in the United States. For many people, it's already started. You might have, as you're watching this, you may already be on holiday. It is lunchtime on the West Coast, standard lunchtime, noon-ish. A lot of people are calling it a day at noon, or at least a little bit early in the afternoon. But consider this, celebrate, have a safe holiday. Here's something I wanted to share. I thought this was very appropriate. 6 minutes of walking outdoors solves more problems than 60 minutes of labored thinking, says William Sabrans. Thank you, Good News Network.org. You had to take a look at that to make sure I'm giving you the right name. But think about that. Where does that apply in your life? And how are you going to take advantage of that with friends and family on this holiday? You likely have something you got to do, right? You have a to-do list. You're going to be working on stuff, cleaning house, organizing, cleaning out the garage, washing the car, maybe doing some maintenance. But take that walk. To this day, those types of walks in the woods. I grew up in an area where we could go to parks that had, let me see if we can get the point kind of at it right there, that had that kind of environment, and it was wonderful. I can still smell the fresh water. Living near the Pacific Ocean, It's different. I understand why they call it freshwater now, but that smell of sweet water in the air, sweet fresh water, the sounds of the brush in the breeze, warm and humid in the summertime, but still enjoying being connected to the environment, being connected to the world around me, being connected to nature. It just felt good, felt natural. It's a great way to just kind of go at a cellular level and kind of reset, look at things a little bit different. So avail yourself of an opportunity to do that over the weekend. It should be part of your daily habit. It should be part of mine. Like, full disclosure, I don't do that as regularly as I should. And even though the environment where I live now is different, there's still plenty of places. As if you've been watching Wolf Watch, we do broadcasts from the live streams from the trail and whatnot. There's plenty of places to do that. I've been hearing the mountains calling me. I haven't been up in the pine trees where you can hear that breeze, the whispering pines as the breeze blows through it. Even though it's a hot wind off the desert this time of year, or sometimes cooler wind off the Pacific. We've had several warm days. Now we're into a fog in the morning type of day. What's it like where you're at? Do you get to see and experience those types of differences? Here's something else that I wanted to share also from Good News Network that I thought was just incredible doing these kinds of things. When I was this age, I wouldn't have thought to do this. And I'm kind of embarrassed because it would have been really cool to do something like this for some of the teachers I grew up with. Your retired kindergarten teachers class returned a decade later to surprise her on graduation day. Quote, a teacher's dream brought her to tears. And here's the kids that went through her kindergarten class. She retired by the time that they graduated from high school. When they got to graduation, they all traipsed, still with the caps and gowns on, over to her house and visited with her, thanked her, and and gave her a well-deserved hat tip, or perhaps in that case, mortarboard would be more appropriate. But gave her a hat tip and said thank you for what she had done as a teacher for them, the impact they had on her lives. Where can you be a ray of sunshine in somebody's life and give them a hat tip, a thank you, calling them up out of the blue? Think about that. It's just we don't spread around enough appreciation. You likely feel that, right? You don't get thanked or acknowledged as much as you should. Well, you know what? You want to get acknowledged more? Start reaching out to people and thanking them. Send a written thank you card. In fact, I've got a couple I need to send out from this week. But do that. See the result that you get. Call someone up. If you're traveling and or if you've moved away from home and you're back for a holiday or to visit family, look up an old teacher or someone that had a big impact in your life. Did that once. Our chemistry teacher, RG, short for RG Smith, but he had everybody call him RG in the classroom. Really got involved in students' lives. In his class, he was one of the 3 best teachers I have had in his classroom. I learned more about chemistry and physics as a foundation, which served me well when I got into college. Not so much graduate school, business school, we weren't dealing with physics that much. But when I was in engineering school, it gave me a great jump start. Thank you so much for that, RG. And I always remember him teasing me because had class right after lunch, come into his classroom. Sometimes I'd been out, running with some friends, and just come sliding back into his classroom, and he'd look at me, shake his head, Wolfie, come on, focus. And we had fun, but it was because he had that connection with students, because he had mastered his craft. He knew the topic inside and out, had an education and experience in the topic he was teaching, and he brought it to life. Brought physics and the hard math that went with it, not advanced calculus that we get in higher level learning, but enough of the math to understand in much deeper level what was going on. Made it very relevant to day-to-day life, made it very relevant to future career paths, and how several of us in the classroom he coached went on the paths that he recommended. He was one of the people that planted the seed of possibly going to engineering school for me. Wasn't something I'd considered. The person who sat in front of me, Janine White, a friend to this day, she went on to have a great career in technical fields, working for big companies. Became a very sought after leader and project manager. followed the path that he had suggested for her. Now, not saying that he was the only reason that she did, but he encouraged students to do more, encouraged us all to do more than we thought we could do. And thank you, R.G. Smith, for that. And you know what else was interesting? We got to use the textbook he wrote in the class. At that time, it was still a little experimental. It had eventually he had tested it. I'm stuttering on this because it brings up so many good memories. But he in a previous class had used they had like just like a fold, binder pages. We had the actual full textbook, and went on to become the standard in high school chemistry, or one of the standard texts in high school chemistry. Awesome to be able to learn from someone who actually wrote the book on the topic, knew what he was talking about. Had some teachers that gave it a great try, but didn't have the depth and mastery. But from K through 12 to engineering school to graduate school, he's one of the three best that had the opportunity to study under, and one of the three that had the largest impact on my life. So again, thank you, RG. Who in your life? Oh, and I went back and visited him. Haven't in recent years. He's since retired and moved way far away from where we met. But the thing is, I went back and visited with him and thanked him and told him where my path had gone in life and where I was heading at that time, and acknowledged what he had done for me. And it was great to have that connection as an adult and to be able to say thanks and to see the look in his eye, because he had person after person came back and did that. And I watched people do that for my dad. He was in a position where he hired a lot of college students, particularly men, that were driving and doing work for him and not driving delivery trucks. And I watched person after person, guy after guy come back over the years to introduce their families to him when they were in town visiting, because of the mentorship that he gave them. So reach out to people and say thank you. Reach out to people that you can help. And if they're open to mentorship, give them some guidance. One more thing. Yeah, kind of rambling along here, but it's a holiday weekend, and there's a lot to be celebrating. There's something else here. Let me look it up for you. Just telling stories, Well, here from On This Day, what the whole holiday is about here in the United States. Independence Day. Right? And this is from onthisday.com. Thank you for that. And we'll put the links for these in the notes. If you want to learn more, and I highly recommend it, going to these sites and learning more, like goodnews.org, onthisday.com. So in the United States Declaration of Independence, now the document had been written and signed earlier, but they waited for good timing on the release. And this is the day that was formally released, was formally announced. A radical idea, rejecting top-down control by those that claimed that they were the only ones that could rule, that by right, in that case were the royals in London, the monarchy, but also the elected politicians, lords in the House of Lords, and in the House of Commons. They were all like going, look, we tell you, we are the only ones that are smart enough to run the government. We will tell you how to live your lives because you can't handle it. And he said, no, that's not how it's going to work. We assert independence. We assert the right for self-governance, for local control of our affairs, to guide our lives. Local control being down to the village and hamlet, the city level. That we will work with our neighbors in order to be able to, independently of some authority on high that claims to be the only most knowledgeable enough to be able to tell you how to run your daily life. And we saw in the 20th century, in modern times, how that plays out, right? The countries that did top-down control, socialism, central planning that went with it, over 100 million lives lost. Don't like that? You want to argue with that? Go check your facts first. Top-down control doesn't work because no one's smart enough to have all the answers for everybody. And that's what they were saying. They go, look, royals by blood right, there's no such thing as blood right to lead. It's like, show us that you can actually be effective. Show us that you can build the kind of future we want to be part of and give us the right to run our own lives. And the Declaration of Independence was released. We were already at war with the UK. I'm not going to get too far into that. That's why I'm kind of stumbling along. Don't want to go down that path. Want to keep this a happy but mindful holiday. And just a couple of quick thoughts. So, last thing, I think we got one more thing here. Wanted to share Declaration of Independence. Talked about Canada, and again, Canada, our friends to the north. So here's something back to Good News Network. This is something that's particularly relevant here in Southern California, where this broadcast is coming at you from. The Tunisians make a generator that produces drinking water from thin air, can produce 25 liters a day. Need more water. Need more ways, particularly in California. It's not just about the amount of water, it's also about being able to keep the water. We have reduced the capacity to store water at the same time that we're dangerously low on our water storage. So this would be something that we may be able to implement. We had a desalination plant that was considered that was blocked, didn't pass the California Environmental Board, but looking for alternatives. I mean, this is something that might help us. So it's great to see these kind of innovations around the world. Just the point being, there's a lot of challenges. There always are. There's a lot of solutions too. There's a lot of hope. There's always hope for today. There's always hope for tomorrow. What are you learning today that you will apply tomorrow to make that a better day in your life and in the lives of those around you? How will you use the hard-earned independence? If you live here in the United States, you're watching this, you're here in the United States, how are you using the hard-earned independence that you have, the right to lead your life without, what was that line from the movie Have you seen the movie The Patriot? Have you seen the movie The Patriot? There's a line in that, and it's where one of the gals is doing a soliloquy. She's going, she's talking to the British Army command, and she's saying, they lead their lives and go about their way without so much as asking for the leave. I forget I wanted to say with so much as a fare thee well. That's not it. Without so much as a by your leave, which is the asking permission. I want to do this. Ask for permission. The right to live your life without having to constantly ask for permission from some higher authority that claims to be smarter than you in order to live your life. What are you doing with that right, with that independence? How are you making your life, your family lives better? And how are you helping your neighbors in your community? Just a thought, not a challenge, but think about it. It's Independence Weekend. It's a 4-day holiday for many, 3-day national holiday. Gives us a chance to come together, break bread. Hopefully, we're getting together with some friends, having barbecue. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be good. Hopefully, you're doing the same, gathering with friends and enjoying their company. At the same time, pause and reflect a little bit. What are you doing with that independence? That's the reason for the weekend. Independence. What are you doing with it, and how are you enjoying it? I'm going to enjoy it with friends, family, and some wind therapy, and hopefully some hiking too. May you do the same. Have a safe, wonderful Independence Day holiday, and I will see you on the trail.